Becoming the mentally toughest version of yourself isn't about pushing harder. It's about following the right system. After making 200+ videos on Eastern philosophy and studying ancient samurai texts, I discovered something fascinating. The Japanese had a 4-stage process that turned ordinary people into warriors who could face death without fear. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to build that same mental strength. I call it Shugyo-Do, and it starts with a truth that might shock you. Part 1. Shugyo, rigorous training. Life itself is your dojo. The Japanese understood this through Shugyo, rigorous training that transforms how you see struggle forever. Shugyo isn't just practice, it's total immersion in difficulty. Buddhist monks sit under freezing waterfalls for hours in winter. Ice forms on their skin, their bodies shake violently, but they remain completely still, finding peace inside chaos. Why? An ancient Zen proverb explains, the obstacle is the path, not the obstacle blocks your path. The obstacle is the path. That freezing water isn't something to endure. It's what creates an unbreakable mind. When you stop running from discomfort, your mind stops seeing difficulty as an enemy. It becomes neutral, just another experience. This is why trained monks can sit in freezing water as calmly as you sit on your couch. Now look at modern life. We've engineered out every discomfort. Too hot? Air conditioning. Bored? Infinite entertainment. Hungry? Food delivery in 20 minutes. Every convenience makes us weaker. Your tolerance for difficulty shrinks until small challenges feel impossible. The samurai knew this danger. In the Hagakure, Yamamoto Tsunetomo wrote, "The way of the samurai is found in death." He means the death of your weak self, the part that chooses comfort, the part that quits when things get hard. Only by facing your limits do you transcend them. When samurai trained, they didn't stop when tired. They stopped when transformed. Miyamoto Musashi won 60 duels, but spent hours daily practicing calligraphy. Why? Because perfect brushstrokes require the same discipline as perfect sword strikes. One shaky movement ruins everything. By mastering the brush, he mastered his mind. The sword became an extension of that mastery. This is Shugyo, taking something difficult and using it to forge mental steel. How do you create your own Shugyo? First, identify what you avoid. Difficult conversations, physical discomfort, being alone with your thoughts. Whatever you run from becomes your training ground. Commit to daily practice for 100 days. Real transformation takes time. Pick something specific. If you avoid confrontation, have one difficult conversation daily. If you fear discomfort, take cold showers. If you can't focus, sit in silence for 20 minutes. No negotiation. When your alarm goes off, you don't think. You do. This isn't about motivation. It's about becoming someone who does hard things automatically. Most of you won't try this. You'll save this video, promise to start tomorrow, then find an excuse. Shugyo isn't for everyone. It's for people sick of being weak. But here's the problem. Shugyo without direction is just suffering. The monks didn't train randomly. They followed a path that gave their training meaning. This is where BUDŌ enters, the martial way that transforms discipline into life philosophy. Part 2. BUDŌ, the martial way. BUDŌ means martial way, but forget what you think you know about martial arts. This isn't about fighting. It's about turning your entire life into a discipline. Gichin Funakoshi, founder of modern karate, made this clear. The ultimate aim of martial arts is not victory, but perfection of character. Read that again. Not victory, character. The samurai discovered something profound. The principles that make you deadly in combat also make you unstoppable in life. Here's what BUDŌ really means. Every moment becomes training. Every interaction tests your discipline. That annoying coworker? Training. That temptation to quit? Training. Life stops being something that happens to you. It becomes your practice. The samurai lived this way. They didn't just train in the dojo then become normal people outside. They turned daily routines into rituals of discipline. Wake up, ritual. Eat breakfast, ritual. Even how they entered a room followed specific principles, not because they were obsessed with rules, because they understood that how you do anything is how you do everything. This is why they could face death without flinching. They'd already practiced discipline in 10,000 small moments. Death was just another test. Yamamoto Tsunetomo captured this perfectly. Matters of great concern should be treated lightly. Matters of small concern should be treated seriously. Sounds backwards? He's revealing the secret of mental toughness. When you treat small things with discipline, big things lose their power over you. Think about it. If you can't handle morning traffic without losing your temper, How will you handle real crisis? If you can't maintain discipline when tired, what happens under real pressure? The small moments are rehearsals for the big ones. Modern life gives us endless opportunities for BUDŌ. Stuck in traffic? Practice patience. Dealing with difficult people? Practice emotional control. Facing a deadline? Practice focus under pressure. Same principles the samurai used, applied to today's battles. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stop seeing challenges as interruptions to your life. They are your life. They're not obstacles to your growth. They're the method of your growth. Your work becomes your dojo. Your struggles become your sensei. The Japanese have a proverb: fall down 7 times, get up 8. Everyone knows this quote. Almost nobody understands it. It's not about resilience. It's about mathematics that don't make sense. How do you get up more times than you fall? Because the 8th time is tomorrow morning when you wake up. You get up before life knocks you down. You start each day already standing, already practicing, already in BUDŌ. This is living the way. But there's a danger in BUDŌ. You can practice in your comfortable dojo forever. Real warriors knew they needed more. They needed to test themselves against reality, against the unknown. They called it MUSHA Shugyo, the warrior's pilgrimage, leaving everything behind to discover if their training was real or just theory. Part 3. MUSHA Shugyo. This is where comfortable practice meets uncomfortable reality, where you discover if your training is real or just pretend. In feudal Japan, samurai would abandon everything, their home, their master, their security, and wander the country seeking challenges. No safety net, no backup plan, just their skills against whatever came next. They called it training in the world. Miyamoto Musashi lived this completely. At 15, he left home and never returned. For decades, he wandered Japan, fighting anyone who'd challenge him. 60 duels, never defeated. Not because he was naturally gifted, because MUSHA Shugyo forged him into something beyond human. But here's what most miss about Musashi. Between duels, he slept in caves, ate whatever he could find, faced starvation, freezing cold, complete uncertainty. The duels weren't the training. Surviving the journey was. As he wrote, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." He meant this literally. When you're comfortable, you see one way forward. When you're desperate, creative, pushed to your limits, suddenly you see paths everywhere. MUSHA Shugyo forces you to find paths you never knew existed. Modern life rarely demands this. We live in bubbles of safety. Same route to work, same people, same challenges. Our comfort zone becomes a prison, and we become prisoners who love our cage. But some still embrace MUSHA Shugyo. Take Yuichiro Miura, a Japanese salaryman who felt dead inside after decades of routine. At 70 years old, he quit everything to climb Everest. Not with elite training, not with years of preparation, just a decision to test himself against the ultimate mountain. He nearly died 5 times, lost toes to frostbite. But he reached the summit. When asked why, he said, "I needed to know if I was still alive." That's MUSHA Shugyo, deliberately choosing challenges that could break you, because only at the breaking point do you discover what you're made of. You don't need to climb Everest, but you need your own pilgrimage, something that pulls you from safety into growth. Maybe it's starting that business with no guarantee, moving to a new country, having that conversation you've avoided for years. The specifics don't matter. The leaving matters. Here's the brutal truth about MUSHA Shugyo. Most who started never returned, not because they died, because they discovered they were frauds. Their dojo skills meant nothing in real combat. Their mental toughness crumbled under real pressure. This is where people discover who they really are. The Bushido Code states, "A samurai's word is his bond." But here's the deeper meaning. The most important promises are the ones you make to yourself. When you say you'll do something hard, then back down when it gets real, you break the bond with yourself. Each broken promise weakens you. MUSHA Shugyo tests this bond. Away from familiar support, facing real consequences, you can't fake it anymore. Either you honor your word to yourself, or you discover you've been lying all along. This is why warriors return transformed, not from winning fights, from keeping promises to themselves when quitting would have been easier, from discovering they could trust themselves completely. But surviving the pilgrimage is just preparation. The real transformation comes through the 3 stages of mastery, what the Japanese call SHUHARI, the path from student to master to something beyond both. Part 4. SHUHARI, the 3 stages of mastery. Every Japanese master followed these stages, not by choice, by necessity. This is how mastery actually works. First comes SHU, protect or obey. This is where everyone starts, but nobody wants to stay. In SHU, you copy exactly. No creativity, no personal touch, just perfect imitation of proven methods. The Buddhist proverb states, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. But here's what it really means. The student becomes ready by emptying themselves completely. No ego, no better ideas, just absorption. Modern people hate this. We want to innovate immediately, add our spin, show how special we are. But the Japanese masters knew, you can't break rules you haven't mastered. You can't transcend basics you don't own completely. Takuan Soho, the Zen master who taught Musashi, explained, the mind must always be in the state of flowing. But in SHU, you're not flowing yet. You're building the riverbed that will guide the flow later. Every repetition carves the channel deeper. Think of learning to write. First, you trace letters exactly, thousands of times. Boring? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Because those traced letters become the foundation for your future signature. Skip this stage, and you'll write like a child forever. In SHU, mental toughness means accepting that you know nothing, following instructions without questioning, repeating basics until they're automatic. Most people quit here because it bruises their ego. They want to be masters without being students first. Then comes ha, break or detach. Now you've earned the right to question. The foundation is solid, so you can start building your own structure. This is where personal style emerges. Matsuo Basho captured this perfectly. Do not seek to follow in the footsteps of the wise, seek what they sought. In SHU, you follow footsteps exactly. In Ha, you understand why those footsteps went where they did. Now you can find your own path to the same destination. Finally comes Ri, leave or transcend. This is where technique disappears, where thinking stops and being begins. You no longer practice mental toughness. You are mental toughness. Musashi reached Ri in his final years. Living alone in a cave, he wrote, in strategy, it is important to see distant things as if they were close and to take a distanced view of close things. Only someone in Ri could write this. He's not talking about physical distance. He's describing a mind that transcended normal perception. In Ri, there's no difference between you and your practice. A master carpenter doesn't think about using his tools. His hands know. A samurai doesn't decide to be brave. Courage is his nature. You don't choose mental toughness. It chooses you. This is why true masters seem supernatural. They're not trying anymore. Decades of SHU built the foundation. Years of Ha refined their understanding. Now in Ri, they operate from a place beyond technique. They've become what they practiced. Most never reach Ri. They get comfortable in Ha, thinking innovation is the endpoint. But Ri isn't about being creative or disciplined. It's about disappearing completely until only the way remains. When you reach Ri in mental toughness, you stop needing motivation. Stop using techniques. Stop trying to be strong. Strength simply flows through you in whatever form the moment requires. You've become the teaching. This is a life path, not a 30-day challenge, not a morning routine, a complete transformation that takes years. But it starts with one decision today. Choose your first Shugyo, something you avoid, something that scares you. Commit to facing it daily for 100 days. No negotiation, no excuses, just practice. The activity doesn't matter. The commitment does, because as the samurai maxim states, tomorrow's battle is won during today's practice. Read that again. Tomorrow's battle, your future challenges, crises, breaking points, is already decided. By what? By whether you practice today, by whether you choose comfort or growth right now. The monks under waterfalls aren't preparing for waterfalls. They're preparing for life. You're not training for cold showers. You're training for everything that will try to break you. Start today. Not tomorrow, not Monday, today. Because the person who starts today has already beaten the person who starts tomorrow. Remember, you don't need to be motivated. You need to begin. The path will teach you everything else. This is Shugyo-Do. Your evolution starts now.